You push code, 90 seconds later, it's live in production. But what actually happens in those 90 seconds? Today, I am breaking down every single step your code goes through: the triggers, the builds, the scans, the tests, the deploys, and the exact tools that make each one work. Plus, where AI is taking over entire stages of this pipeline. Let's go. Welcome to the Solo Engineer. Let's get started. So, first of all, let's know what is CI/CD pipeline. A CI/CD pipeline is an automated workflow that streamlines software development. It automatically builds, tests, and deploys code changes, bridging the gap between development and operations. So in the first part of this video, we will basically go through the theoretical knowledge of CI/CD pipeline from scratch in complete technical breakdown. So here's the complete journey: 10 steps: trigger, build, analysis, test, artifact, and then infra, stacking, E2E test, deploy, and monitor. The first 5 are CI, continuous integration. That's where your code gets verified and packaged. The last 5 are CD, continuous delivery. That's where that's where your verified package actually reaches users. Every modern engineering team runs some version of this. Let me walk you through each step, what's happening under the hood, and the exact tools doing the work. Step 1: code trigger and checkout. Everything starts with a trigger. You push code or open a pull request. The moment that happens, your Git hosting platform, GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket fires a webhook. That's just an HTTP post request sent to your CI engine saying, hey, new code change drop. The CI engine receives and then receive that webhook and provisions an isolated runner. This is a fresh virtual machine or container, completely clean, no leftover state from previous builds. The runner clones your exact branch at your commit SHA. Think of it like calling a taxi. You push code, the webhook is the phone call, and the runner is the taxi that shows up to do the work. And tools used here for triggering is GitHub runners, GitHub CI runners, GitLab CI runners, Jenkins agent, Bitbucket pipelines, and build kite agents. Second stage: build and dependency resolution. The key here is isolation. Every pipeline run starts clean. No contamination from previous builds. That's non-negotiable. Now the runner has your code. First question: can it even compile? The build step reads your dependency manifest. That's package.json for JavaScript, pom.xml for Java, requirements.txt for or pyproject.tml for Python, cargo.tml for Rust, go.mode for Go. It downloads every external library your project depends on from their respective registries. For compiled languages, this step actually produces a binary. Java compiles to bytecode, Go and Rust compile to native binaries. For interpreted languages like JavaScript or Python, it's mainly about resolving and installing dependencies correctly. And the tools required here for building and dependency resolution depends on basically the library you use or the language. For the JavaScript, it's npm, yarn, or pnpm pulling from the npm registry. Python, it pip or poetry pulling from pyp, and Java, Maven or Gradle pulling from Maven Central. Go mode download or Go build. Rust is cargo build, and C# is .NET build with Nugget packages. Smart pipelines cache these dependencies between runs. First build, 2 minutes downloading packages, subsequent builds, 3 seconds restoring from cache. That time saving compounds across hundreds of daily builds. This step answers one question: can your code even compile? If your dependencies are broken or your syntax is wrong, it dies here. Fast failure, no wasted compute on later stages. Moving ahead to the third step, your code compiled. Alright, now let's see if it is actually good or not. Three layers of static analysis run simultaneously: linting and formatting. What is it? Enforcing code style, consistent indentation, naming conventions, import ordering. Not glamorous, but it prevents death by 1,000 style debates in code reviews. SAST, Static Application Security Testing, scanning your source code for known vulnerability patterns, SQL injection vectors, cross-site scripting opportunities, unsafe deserialization, insecure cryptographic usage. Secret detection, finding the hard-coded API keys, database passwords, and auth tokens that should never exist in source code. And the tools used for the three layers of static analysis is for linting, it is ESLint, Flake, Checkstyle, and GoLangKey. For SAS, SonarQube, Checkmarx, Snyk, CodeQL, and Bandit for Python. For secret detection, it's Git leaks, Trufflehog, Detect Secrets. And for formatting is Prettier, Black, Rust, FMET. This is your robot code reviewer. It does not care about your feelings. It finds the hard-coded AWS key you committed at 2 am and blocks the entire pipeline until you fix it. If anything critical is found, the pipeline stops, hard stop, no negotiation, fix it or nothing ships. Moving ahead to the fourth step, automated testing shoot. This is the most critical step in the entire pipeline. Your code compiled and it looks clean, but does it actually work? So basically here two tests basically is performed. First one is unit testing. Run first individual function tested in complete isolation, mock dependencies, control inputs, expected outputs. These run in seconds. You might have thousands of them. Next is integration testing. Multiple modules interacting with each other, your API hitting a real database, your service calling another service. These take minutes because they need real infrastructure, often spun up via Docker containers on the fly. Code coverage measures what percentage of your code base was actually exercised by test. Most teams set a threshold, drop below 80% and the build fails. Not because 80% is magic, but because it forces you to test new code. And the tools here used is, you can see in the screen, just PyTest. For the integration is Docker Compose. Code coverage is Istanbul coverage.py, and for mocking is unittest.mock and Mockito. It runs in 8 seconds. Integration test run in 3 minutes. If coverage drops below threshold, build fails. No exceptions. Next is artifact creation and storage. This is the last step of the CI stage. Your code passed every gate, now we freeze it. The build system packages your application along with its runtime and OS level configuration into a Docker image. This image gets tagged either with a semantic version like version 2.4.1 or with the git commit SHA for traceability. The tagged image gets pushed to a container registry. And here's the critical principle. This artifact is immutable. What gets deployed to production is byte for byte identical to what was tested. No rebuilding, no recompiling. No, it worked in CI but not in prod. And the tools used here are for containerization, Docker, Podman, for container registry, Docker Hub, AWS ECR, GCP artifact registry, and for package registry is npm registry, PyP, and for versioning is semantic versioning and git SSH tags. CI is done. You now have a verified version deployable package sitting in a registry. It passed every check. Now CD takes over. That was CI, verify and package. Now CD, deliver and deploy. Here where it gets real. Your code is about to touch infrastructure. So moving ahead to the next step is your code needs somewhere to live. Infrastructure as code tools read declarative configuration files and create the exact environment your app requires. Servers, load balancers, firewall rules, Kubernetes namespaces, DNS entries, database instances, all defined in version control files, all reproducible, all auditable. So this makes the first step of CD as infrastructure provisioning. And here the tools used are IAC. For IAC, the Terraform, which is one of the best, my favorite, and Ansible. And for the secret management is HashiCorp Vault, Azure Key Vault, AWS Secret Manager. And for containerization, Kubernetes, Amazon ECS, and Google Cloud Run. Your code needs somewhere to live. IAC ensures that environment is identical every single time. No work on my machine excuses. Same config, same infrastructure, whether it's your stacking cluster or production. Now, deploy to stacking. Here, stacking is your dress rehearsal. Same infrastructure, same configuration, same database schemas, just no real users hitting. The deployment tool pulls your verified Docker image from the registry and deploys it to the pre-production environment. Database migrations run, new tables, altered columns, index additions, services restart with the new image, health checks confirm everything came up clean. And the tools here used is for deployment, Argo CD, AWS Code Deploy, Flux, kubectl. And for the database migration is Flyway, Liquibase, Prisma Migrate Next. And for the environment, Docker Compose, AWS tagging account. So stacking is your safety net. If migrations fail here, you catch it before a single production user is affected. Now, moving ahead is the E2E testing and smoke test. The app is running in stacking. Now we test it like a real user world. Smoke test. Hit your critical endpoints. Can the app serve the home page? Can users authenticate? And can the API respond? If any of these fail, something fundamental is broken. End-to-end browser test. Simulate complete user journeys. A headless browser opens your app, logs in, navigates through workflows, submit forms, verifies result, every click a real user would make. And the third is load test. Answer the scale question. Can your deployment handle 10,000 concurrent users without response times degrading past your SLA? And the tools used here is Playwright, Cypress, Selenium, and for the API testing, Postman, and for the smoke test, curl verification, load test, K6 locust. And the moving ahead to the last second step is the production release strategy. Everything passed, time to go live, but how you release matters enormously. Continuous delivery means the pipeline pauses here. A human, maybe a tech lead or release manager, reviews the evidence and clicks approve, then it deploys. Continuous deployment means fully automatic, no human in the loop. Test pass, production gets updated. Either way, you need a zero downtime strategy. So blue green, two identical production environment, traffic flips from old to new instantly, rollback, flip back. Canary, route 5% of the traffic to the new version. Watch metrics increase to 25%. Watch, then 50%, and then 100%. Rolling, replace instances one by one. Old and new coexist briefly. Feature flags. The code is deployed but the feature is toggled off. Enable it for 1% of users, then 10%, and then to 100%. And the tools used here is rolling updates, AWS ALB, Nginx, Flagger. Blue-green is like having two stages at a concert. The band finishes on stage A, the crowd turns around, and stage B is already playing, zero gap, zero silence. So this is quite famous strategy for the zero downtime strategy. Final step is the monitoring and rollback post deployment. So how it works? Deploying is not the finish line. Confirming health is the last part. Monitoring systems observe everything. CPU utilization, memory pressure, error rates, response time percentiles, user behavior patterns, all in real time. The moment error rates breach a threshold, say 5xx, responses jump from 0.1% to 2%, alerts fire. Pager duty pages on the all-call engineer. Slack channels light up. But the best system don't wait for humans. Automatic rollback kicks in. Previous stable version is redeployed. Traffic reroutes. Users never even noticed there was a problem. And the tool used here is Prometheus plus Grafana for monitoring, error tracking, Sentry, Rollbar, and for alerting, Slack integration, OpsGenie, PagerDuty, and for the rollback, Blue Green Flip, Argo CD rollback, and K8's rollout undo. Deploy is not done when code is live. It's done when you have confirmed it's healthy. And if it is not, automatic rollback in under 60 seconds, user never notice. AI in CI/CD, the new layer. Here's what's changing right now. AI is embedding itself into every single stage of this pipeline. AI code review, AI test generation, AI security scanning, AI deployment decisions, AI incident response, and AI log analysis. So, how AI enhances each step? So, it predicts test selection, smart building caching, deep bug detection, automatic test generation, supply chain security, infra optimization, anomaly detection, where it compares tagging versus production behavior to catch drift early, self-healing test, risk-based rollout, and predictive AI ops. Here, AI predicts incidents before they happen and auto-remediates known issue. AI is not replacing CI/CD; it's supercharging it. Predictive test selection means running only in the test affected by your change, cutting 30 minutes suits to 4 minutes. AI generated test catch edges, edge cases, human skip, and AI ops predicts your outage before it happens. So 10 steps: trigger, build, analyze, and test and package. That's CI. Provision, stage, E2E, release, monitor. That's CD. And the AI is the new layer accelerating every single one. Next time you run git push, you will know exactly what's happening in those 90 seconds. Every webhook, every container, every scan, every test, every deploy. If this breakdown helped you understand what's actually happening under the hood, subscribe to the Solo Engineer. This is the Solo Engineer where tech meets reality. Drop a comment which steps surprise you the most and which tool are you going to implement first. See you in the next one. Thank you.